Buenas and Hafa. This Committee on Rules meeting is now called to order. For the record, today is Wednesday, October 23rd, 2019, and the time is now 2:35 p.m. Our core director, Ms. Mary Maravilla, will now call the roll of members.
Chairperson Régine Biscoe Lee.
Gaigia.
Legislative Secretary Amanda L. Shelton. Speaker Tina Rose Munoz Barnes. Vice Speaker Talina Cruz Nelson. Senator Kelly Marsh Titano. Senator Sabina Flores Perez. Senator Clinton E. Rangel. Senator Joe S. San Augustine. Senator Jose Pito Terlahi. Senator Therese M. Terlahi. Senator James C. Moylan. Senator Mary Camacho Torres. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Sidus Masi. Does the chair hear a motion to excuse members not present? Moved by Senator Moylan, second by the Speaker. It's been moved and seconded that members not present be excused. Are there any objections? Hearing none, motion carries. I'll now give the members an opportunity to review our core meeting minutes from the September 24th core meeting.
Motion to ratify the Committee on Rules meeting minutes, subject to any administrative correction that may be identified.
Okay, there's been a motion to ratify the core meeting minutes from September 24th, 2019, made by Senator Joe San Augustine and seconded by Speaker Tina Munoz Barnes. Any objection?
No objection.
Hearing none, so moved. We'll move on to core business and document tracking. The first item is an update on document tracking, and the Legislative Secretary will now provide the report.
Sidus Masi, Madam Chair. The Legislative Secretary reports to date are as follows. Appointments by the Governor. There are 155 appointments submitted by Governor Lilian Guerrero to date. There were 11 appointments that were confirmed during our February 2019 session, 8 appointments confirmed during our March 2019 session, 25 appointments confirmed during our April 2019 session, 21 appointments confirmed during our May 2019 session, 11 appointments during our July 2019 session, 21 appointments during our August 2019 session, 11 appointments confirmed during the September 2019 session, totaling 108 appointments confirmed. Of the remaining 47 appointments, some have been withdrawn and some are pending confirmation. No pending appointments, however, have extended beyond the authorized 90-day term limit. There are 3 zone change requests at this time, and we received 10 proposed rules and regulations. 5 of the 10 have had their public hearings. Sidus Masi, Madam Chair.
Sidus Maasi, Legislative Secretary, Senator Shelton. The next item of business is the ratification of referrals. The referrals of bills, resolutions, and appointments are indicated on each of the corresponding logs. Is there a motion, to ratify
Madam Chair, if I may,
the referral of bills?
the referral of bills.
Okay. There's been a motion by the Speaker to ratify the referral of bills, seconded by Senator San Augustine. Any objection?
No objection.
We'll now hear a motion to ratify the referrals of resolutions. Moved by Senator
And I'll
Shelton, seconded by the Speaker. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Is there a motion to ratify the referrals of executive appointments?
So moved.
Moved by the Speaker, seconded by Senator Rangel. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. I'll now just make a note to the core members. I'd like to advise everybody that regarding bill number 222-35 COR, which was assigned in error, we have been working with the clerks to rectify this error, and the bill's sponsor requested to maintain its number, so the clerk processed numbers 220 and 221 as unassigned. So if you look, if you go onto the Guam Legislature's website and you look at all of the bills that are introduced, you'll see 219 assigned, and then 220 and 221 unassigned to skip ahead to Bill 222. So I just want to note that this doesn't have any conflict with any other bills introduced, and it'll also be explained during our session, probably by the majority leader. But I just wanted to let the core members know that pursuant to Rule 6 of the Standing Rules, Section 603, we just followed based on what our standing rules prescribe. Thank you. We'll now move to the consideration of items eligible for placement on the session agenda. Since our September meeting, committee reports for the following items have been duly filed and met the Committee on Rules committee report deadline. They include Bill 5, Senator Taitagui; Bill 11, Senator Moylan; Bill 13, Senator Shelton; Bill 34, Senator Rigel; Bill 46, Senator Moylan; Bill 69, Senator Paris; Bill 86, Speaker Tina Rose Muñoz Barnes; Bill 91, Senator Lee; Bill 104, Senator Moylan; 152, Speaker Tina; Bill 181, Speaker Tina; Bill 187, Senator Therese Terlahi, as well as the following committee reports for the following executive appointments have been duly filed with the Committee on Rules, and they include Donovan L. Brooks, member, Guam, KGTF and PBS Board of Trustees; Rosemary Clement, member, also KGTF PBS Board of Trustees, as well as Donald H. Rubenstein, member of the COSIS Board, Guam Museum. We'll now entertain motions to place these items and previously reported items onto the session agenda. Speaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I may put back on the agenda Bill 86-35 COR, which is an act to add Section 61541F and a new Section 61547, both of Articles 5, Chapter 61, Title 21, Guam Code Annotated, and this is the relative to the exterior on-premise signage in H zones and defining digital signage. It was on the
Just to note, this bill was passed on file during a prior session, and we're moving Bill number 86 as amended. There's been a motion by the speaker and
As
seconded
substituted.
by, as amended.
right,
Yep.
but will be substituted.
Okay, duly noted. So it's been moved by the speaker and seconded by Senator San Augustine. Any objection to the placement of Bill 86 as amended? There's been an objection. All those in favor of placing Bill 86 on the session agenda, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay, motion passes. Speaker Tina, you have the floor.
Madam Chair, if I may, Bill 152-35 LS, as substituted by the Committee on Heritage and the Arts. My bill, an act to repeal Article 4 of Chapter 50, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, to add a new Article 2 and a new Section 103H, both to Chapter 3, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, relative to establishing the Guam Film Office under the Guam Educational Telecommunications Program.
And Speaker, just repeat, that's bill number 152
152-35 LS,
as substituted, correct?
as substituted.
Okay, there's been a motion by the speaker and a second by Senator San Augustine. Any objection to the placement of 152-35 to the session agenda?
No objection.
Hearing none, motion carries. Speaker?
Yeah, I'll wait.
Any other member wish to be heard? Senator Moylan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move to place Bill number 11-35, Act to create the Expect More Act of 2019 by adding subsection 3133 to Chapter 3, Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to the creation of an agency customer service policy to session agenda. Number two.
Bill number 11 as introduced.
Number 2. Yes, as introduced, Madam Chair.
Okay, there's
Or
been
Madam-
a motion by Senator Moylan to move Bill number 11-35 as introduced. Do I hear a second?
I object.
There's been an objection. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Senator Torres. There's been an objection. All those in favor of the placement of Bill number 11-35 COR as introduced, please indicate by raising your hand. Motion fails. Senator Moylan?
Thank you. Item number 5, I'd like to move on session agenda, Bill number 46-35, Core, as amended by the Committee on Environmental Revenue and Taxation and Procurement, Act to amend subsection 5112 of Chapter 51, Title 18, Guam Code annotated to add a new subsection 30112 to Chapter 30 of Title 11, Guam Code annotated relative to increasing the enforcement and collection efforts from lodging facilities who accommodate transit visitors, to be placed on agenda.
Suzus Masi, Senator Moylan, there's been a motion to place Bill 46 as amended on the session agenda. Do I hear a second?
Madam Chair, can we just get a refresher on that bill a little bit? If you
This
could
is
remind
on-
us what it's about.
On the B&Bs?
B&B.
Go ahead.
It's the B&B where we're looking at increasing the penalties and fines for companies that did not register with revenue taxation. In other words, operating illegal bread and breakfast establishments. Thank you, sorry.
Does that suffice, Senator Lai? Again, members, there's been a motion to place Bill 46-35 as amended onto the session agenda by Senator Moylan. Do I hear a second?
Yeah. Madam Chair, if I may, just because we continue to work with Rev and Tax on the law that's in place right now, and we did ask for time, and I've been working with the Director of Revenue and Taxation, and this was part of the agenda as far as the update, and she asked us to give us a little bit more time, so at this time, I'm going to respectfully ask for the objection on this bill right now until I can get the further clarification, because Rev and Tax is working on it. I had a meeting with Rev and Tax last week, and this was one of the topics discussed. Okay, so just,
Okay, so no second, we're not going to move forward.
just because of,
There's been a motion and objection. Sudos Masi. There being no second, we'll continue. Senator Moylan, you still have the floor.
Thank you. I'd like to move item number 9 on the agenda, Bill number 104-35, sponsored by myself, Senator Shelton, the Speaker, Senator Castro, Senator Nelson, Senator Chalahi, and Senator Muña, which is the act to amend subsection 58104Q, subsection 58105, subsection 58116, subsection 58117 alpha, and subsection 58128.3 of Chapter 58, Title 12, Guam Code annotated, and to add Article 8 to Chapter 26, Title 11, Guam Code annotated. Do I need to? Okay, annotated relative to those U.S. corporations repatriating at least $5 million of their deferred foreign income to Guam, the repatriation tax to create a repatriated profits fund, its guidelines, and to establish a third-party agents industry for Guam.
Sudos Masi. So that's Bill number 104 as introduced. It's been moved by Senator Moylan and seconded by Senator Pito Chalahi. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Moylan?
I also like to place on the agenda Bill number 175. And here we go. Right, it's 175-35. You can find it on the bill status, page 24. Yeah, so on bill status, and I'll read the title. Okay. The sponsors are myself, Senator Nelson, and Senator Shelton. So this is an act to add subsection 89.16 to Chapter 89, Title 9, Guam Code annotated relative to limitations of loitering in certain areas for registered sex offenders. I believe we did.
Madam Chair, if it's not listed on our agenda, I mean, I agree with what the bill intent, but if it's not listed, and identified as been referred, then it hasn't come out of committee.
Sidusmasi, Senator Sinagazine, just judging from the bill status sheet that has been distributed to all members, Bill number 175-35 was introduced in July. It was referred also in July to the Committee on Health. But I'm not seeing a public hearing date, and I don't believe that there's been a report that's been issued to the Committee on Rules for this bill. So I would agree with you, Senator Sinagazine.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I think that's correct, Madam Chair. I think we're waiting for feedback from, if I remember correctly, it's the Attorney General. I know we tried to send that in this week, but it wasn't possible yet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sidusmasi for the update. Any other member wish to be heard on bills for the session agenda? Senator Shelton, you're recognized.
Sidusmasi, Madam Chair, I'd like to move to add Bill number 13-35 COR as amended by the Committee on Higher Education and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens, authored by myself, Teresa Terlahi, Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, Régine Biscoe, Jose Pito Terlahi, Talina Cruz Nelson, an act to add a new Chapter 32 to Title 9 of the Guam Code annotated relative to protecting elderly adults from abuse, neglect, and exploitation by providing criminal punishment for those who harm our Manamco and disabled people. This bill was set aside in a previous session, and I will be substituting it on the floor.
Sidusmasi, there's been a motion by Senator Shelton to move Bill 13-35 as amended, and it's been also seconded by Senator Sinagazine. Any objection to the placement of Bill 13? Sure.
What would be the justification for substituting it out? Was there some material change to the bill that?
We received the testimony from the Attorney General, so we've made amendments to the bill to reflect those suggestions.
Okay, but not necessarily material that would warrant us.
No, but I will
Hearing it.
provide it to our colleagues before we go into session.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So at this time, just to be clear, members, we are placing Bill 13 as amended, and the member had mentioned that she plans to substitute on the floor, so that'll take another vote once we get into session. So for now, we're just discussing Bill 13-35. It's up online if you'd like to review. This is as amended. It's been moved by Senator Shelton, seconded by Senator Sinagazine. Any objection?
No objection.
Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Shelton?
Sidusmasi, Madam Chair, I'd also like to add Bill number 80-35, introduced by myself and Senator Clint Rigel, as amended by the committee, an act to amend Section 8311 of Article 3, Chapter 8, Title 12, Guam Code annotated, relative to raising the renewable portfolio standards of the Guam Power Authority, and to add a new Article 6 of Chapter 8, Title 12, Guam Code annotated, relative to the creation of the Community Solar Host Program to the agenda.
Sidusmasi, Senator Shelton, I just want to note that this did not meet the core deadline. However, the bill was turned into the Committee on Rules. The committee report was received by us, and it was also filed with the clerks today. So it's up online and available for whoever would like to read it. Again, this is Bill 80 as amended by the committee. And Senator Shelton has mentioned that it did not meet the committee report deadline, so we'll just note that it is available online. I'll just state that for the record.
Thank you.
There's been a second by the speaker and an objection by Senator Moylan.
I have a question, though.
Sure.
Madam Chair, I did not, as of yesterday, see the report online, so I didn't have a chance to look at the bill. I mean, the bill as originally presented was very straightforward and very short bill that addressed a threshold for renewable energy by a certain timeline. What the author just read, though, from the title of the bill that as amended includes, I believe, another totally different subsection, which perhaps is immaterial to the initial subject of the bill. And on that, I believe that, you know, it begs the question of whether it should require another public hearing, or at least a pause if there's no urgency in entertaining it. Urgency meaning something that has to be funded by a certain deadline. I would probably, in an abundance of caution, and since it involves energy which has a direct effect on consumer costs and pricing, that this perhaps be at least delayed beyond this session, this upcoming session, so that we have ample time to understand and vet the concerns. There's this, it sounds like there's something else that is totally separate and apart from just this very plain topic of the bill that was presented and heard. So with that, I would ask for caution and maybe a reconsideration of advancing this forward.
So Desmasi, Senator, there's also been a request by a member to take a brief recess to consult with counsel, so we'll go ahead and do that at this time. We'll take a brief recess. Suzos Masi for the break, and we are back.
Madam
Sorry,
Chair?
let me just recognize Senator Shelton.
Okay.
Briefly. Senator Shelton.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just like to ask the chairman of the committee who reported it out with the amendments to give a brief explanation of the amendments made.
Sure. So just to explain all the amendments, the bill as amended is based off of testimony received in the public hearing. So all of the amendments, I believe, are germane because it's all based off of testimony received during the public hearing, which is part of the purpose of the public hearing process, so that we can hear what the public has to say about the legislation, so we can see what kind of amendments can be added to the legislation to improve it.
Madam Chair,
Senator Augustine, you're recognized.
I'm not raising an objection of the bill. I'm raising an objection on the process. We started out with one of our colleagues that asked about a bill, and we said, no, not yet, because it's not here on the list. If it's not on the list, see you on the first hour of session and bring it up in motion, and then let it be addressed. Because in previous core meetings, whenever it's not listed, that means it's going through the process. I support the intent of renewable energy. Don't get me wrong, because I have bills that have that. But I'm just saying, if we can just hold off, if you're not on the list because it hasn't been cleared by your committee, we just hold on and wait until the first hour in session, and when we're in motion, make the motion and we go through the process. Because right now, everything that our colleagues mentioned about the amendments and stuff, fine. I don't have the bill in front of me to be able to say anything. And it's not fair for any of our colleagues to say, I wanted a bill, we can't. There's another colleague across me that said he has 3 bills he's waiting. Let's stick with your list, and it's comfortable, it's clean, transparent, fair. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Oh,
Senator Shelton.
thank you very much, Madam Chair. Okay, I hear the concerns of our colleagues, and I have no problem moving the bill on the floor on the day of session.
And I just want to reiterate that this was received by the Committee on Rules. It's been filed by the clerks as of today, and so if anybody would like to review it, it sounds like there may be a move to add it. So again, it's bill number 80-35 as amended, and we'll just note it. It can be found online, the amended version. Suzos Masi. Senator Shelton, you're recognized. Senator Kelly, you're recognized.
Sanam Asi, Madam Chair. I would just like to note for the record, which has just recently been done, that likewise bills 127 and 150 have been submitted to the Committee on Rules, and
Madam Chair, can I ask the good senator to please do one bill at a time and note it and read the title, just so that we can have a better understanding, please?
Sanam Asi. Yes, so Bill 127-35 COR has been submitted to the Committee on Rules. It is an act to add a new section 1038 to Chapter 10, Title 1, Guam Code Annotated, relative to officially establishing an annual Peace Officers Memorial Day for Guam.
Suzos Masi, and the other bill number?
Sanam Asi. So the other bill number is Bill 150, and it's in the same position. It's been submitted. It is 150-35 COR, an act to amend Section 2104 of Chapter 2, Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to expanding the scope of the Island Beautification Task Force. So just to note for the record that they have been submitted, and I do plan on making a motion on the floor.
Suzos Masi, duly noted. And Senator Shelton, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I too would like to state for the record that I have two separate bills that have been submitted to CORE. The first being Bill number 138-35, introduced by myself and all 14 of our colleagues here, an act to amend Section 90103 of Chapter 90, Title 10, Guam Code Annotated, relative to expanding the Natasha Protection Act of 2005 to define and prohibit the use of electronic smoking devices wherever other tobacco products are already prohibited. I understand that it is under core review, and I would like to move it on the floor. And the second bill, Bill number 157-35, COR, as amended by the Committee on Health, Tourism, Historic Preservation, Land, and Justice, introduced by myself, Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes, Talina Cruz Nelson, Joe S. San Augustine, James C. Moylan, and Luis B. Munia. An act to add a new Section 89.16 and amend Section 89.01G1 to Chapter 89 of Title 9, Guam Code Annotated, relative to requiring convicted sexual offenders whose cases are under appeal to retain their absolute duty to register at the Judiciary of Guam Probation Division as a sex offender, which is also under core review. Sudios Masi, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Shelton. Any other member wish to be heard?
Yes.
Senator Moylan, you're recognized.
Reference to item number 1, Bill number 5-35, LS, as amended by the Committee on General Government Operations, Appropriation, and Housing, introduced by Senator Telo-Taitigui, which is an act to add a new Article 9 to Chapter 77 of Division 2, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, relative to developing a new public hospital facility through the establishment of our hospital, our life planning task force, to be added to the agenda.
Thank you, Senator Moylan. So that's a motion to add Bill number 5 as amended. There's been a motion by Senator Moylan. Do I hear a second? Senator Shelton, you're recognized.
I'd just like to speak to this bill and ask for a reconsideration to place it on the agenda. When we attended, or when we had the GMH oversight hearing a couple nights ago, the administrator of the hospital shared with us that in November, the Army Corps of Engineers would be coming to visit GMH to make their recommendation on whether or not we are in need of a new hospital or not. So I just ask for us to hold off on this bill for a few months to give them that opportunity and for us to listen to that recommendation first.
Sudios Mahasi, Senator Shelton, for the information. There's been a motion to place Bill 5 as amended. Do I hear a second?
Okay, so then there should be an objection then, Madam Chair.
There's been a motion by Senator Moylan. There's been a motion by Senator Moylan, a second by Senator Therese Terlahi, and an objection by Senator Pito Terlahi. All those in favor of placing Bill number 5 onto the session agenda as amended, please indicate by raising your hand. Motion fails. Senator Moylan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have to wait. Also like to note to be placed on, well, actually it's what? Bill number 6-35. I understand that this bill, the committee, and I'll read it for you, sorry. It was introduced by Senator Telo-Taitigui. It's an act to repeal subsection 8172 of Article 1, Chapter 8, Title 4, Guam Code Annotated, relative to the responsible use of taxpayer funds through the elimination of automatic retirement benefits for elected Guam governors, lieutenant governor, and their survivors. So I understand this committee notes were sent back to the committee for corrections, and that it was done, and that possibly we can have this mentioned during session.
Sudios Mahasi, Senator Moylan, that's in fact the case. So on Bill number 6-35 as amended, it was received by CORE. It did not meet our deadline, but it is under CORE review, and there are several revisions that need to be made to the bill in the committee report, so it's still with the committee, and hopefully we'll be able to get it online and filed with the clerks prior to our session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Duly noted.
Thank you. And also wish to do that likewise with Bill number 40-35 Core, introduced by Senator Titagui. It's an act to amend subsection 3229C7 of Article 2, Chapter 3, Division 1, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, relative to establishing the Alcohol Beverage Compliance Fees and Fines Fund. So, it's actually on page 7 of our bill status.
Senator San Augustine, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, that's just going through the revisions and adjustments, and hopefully it'll make it to the core by session. If not, it'll probably be the day after. Okay?
Duly noted, and that's Bill 40-35 COR.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. One other as well. It's Bill 131. And let's see here. Boy, you know, I'm going to need glasses pretty soon. This is getting really
I
small.
know this type is very small.
Yeah,
I
okay,
apologize.
thank you.
131?
Yes, that's on page 18 of our bill status, the last item. So Bill 131-35 Core, introduced by Senator Titagui, is an act to amend subsection 26603 Delta 1 of Article 6, Chapter 26, Division 2, Title 11, Guam Code Annotated. It's relative to Healthy Future Funds proceeds authorized for the Guam Memorial Hospital Authority line of credit. So likewise, similar situation, committee notes being adjusted.
Yep. Sidus Masi and duly noted. Great.
Madam Chair, I know we discussed Bill 80, but if I can just also make a comment, a plea also for this to be further discussed. Based on what I understand from this bill and looking at as amended by committee, I understand this was mentioned at the public hearing, but basically the bill went from 1 page to now almost 7 pages. And the bill is talking about something to happen in the next 15 years. So the target date of being of 2035, I think that would give us a sense of, well, we have time to discuss this if we can further discuss.
Senator Moylan, it's my understanding that there may be a push to move this onto the session agenda, and you can reserve your comments for that time thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Chalahi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move Bill 187 onto the agenda. It's the rules and regs for the Allied Health Examiners Board. It was put online at 5:38 p.m. after the last session, right?
Yes, it was.
Second.
It was placed right online. Thank you. Senator Chalahi has moved Bill 187 as amended, seconded by Senator San Augustine. Any objection to the placement of Bill 187 as amended?
Madam Chair, if I may, not that I don't support it, I support the intent of the bill. I just wanted to make sure that when the push was coming on, they said there was a timeline, so I just want to know, did this provision get lapsed into law based on the timeline?
Senator Chalahi, can you please provide us an update with that?
Because I know that was mentioned the last time.
I'm not the one who does that certification, but the 90 days was supposed to expire at October 12. However, these rules, the version that is in this bill is amended so that it will include amendments. So even if it had been lapsed into law, we want to include the amendments. That was the whole point.
No problem.
Thank you for the information. Again, there's been a motion by Senator Chalahi to place Bill 187 as amended onto the session agenda, seconded by Senator San Augustine. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Chalahi, still have the floor.
Nominations, Madam Chair?
Any other member wish to be heard on bills? Senator Chalahi?
Sure, it's not on the list, Madam Chair, but it's been submitted to Committee on Rules, so hoping it will be cleared by session, I just want to move to place the nominations of Vincent A. Leon Guerrero as a member of the Guam Historic Preservation Review Board. I think he's an alternate member.
Right. So these, again, have been, they didn't meet the core deadline, but they were received by the Committee on Rules yesterday in the morning, and so we're on our second review in terms of that. And so I'll note that you'll try to move that on the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And one other is the nomination of Angela M. Camacho, member of the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission. Thank you.
Angela? A. Camacho?
M. Camacho. The appointment of Angela M. Camacho to serve as a member of the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission, again, that was also received yesterday morning, and it's in its second review by the Committee on Rules, so we'll just note that those two appointments were mentioned. Sujus Masi. Any other member wish to be heard on appointments? Senator San Augustine, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, Frank J. Pangilinan to the Guam Real Estate Commission. I know that that's making its way to clear your committee.
Duly noted. That was also received for final review with revisions today. So will Frank J. Pangilinan to serve as a member real estate broker to the Guam Real Estate Commission. Sujus Masi. Senator Clint Rogel, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move David John's appointment to the GITA board. I don't believe it met the core deadline either, but I believe it was reported out to core on Monday, I believe.
Yes, that's correct. So it did not meet the Committee on Rules deadline, but it was filed with the clerk several days ago. So is that a motion for you to place, or are you going to place it in session?
I can move it now if there's no objections. If not, I'll move it on the session floor.
Is it online for more than 24 hours?
Yep.
It's been online for more than 24 hours, I believe.
Madam Chair, we already agreed. If it's not on the list, it's so noted. On first hour, I'll be with you, Senator Clint. I will identify Frank Pangilinan
Got it.
for the commission, okay? So I think we just,
All right, I'll make
Duly
that
noted.
motion on the session floor. Thank you.
Okay.
One more I'd like to note that I'd like to move on the session floor that was filed earlier this week is appointment of George Chu to the GITA board.
Sujus Masi. So I have David John, Gita, and George Chu, Gita. Thank you. Any other member wish to be heard in terms of nominations? Senator Kelly Marsh.
Senator Maasi, Madam Chair. I move to place the appointment of Donovan L. Brooks to serve as a member of the Guam Educational Telecommunications Corporation, otherwise known as KGTF PBS, Board of Trustees, onto the agenda.
Second.
There's been a motion to place Donovan L. Brooks on to the Guam Education Telecommunications Corporation Board of Trustees by Senator Kelly Marsh Taitano, seconded by Speaker Munya Barnes. Any objection?
No objection.
Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Marsh.
Senator Maasi. I move to place the appointment of Rosemary A. Clement to serve as a member of Guam Educational Telecommunications Corporation's Board of Trustees onto the agenda.
There's been a motion by Senator Kelly Marsh Taitano to place Rosemary A. Clement onto the session agenda, seconded by Senator San Augustine. Any objection?
No objection.
Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Marsh Taitano, you're recognized.
Senator Maasi, Madam Chair. I move to place the appointment of Donald H. Rubenstein to serve as a member of COSA's Board of Advisors for the Guam Museum onto the agenda.
Sujus Masi, there's been a motion by Senator Kelly Marsh Taitano to place Donald H. Rubenstein onto the agenda as a member of the COSA's Board of Advisors and Guam Museum. It's been seconded by Speaker Tina Munya Barnes. Any objection?
No objection.
Hearing none, motion carried. Reading file. So we'll just go back. And actually, do you want me to just,
Yeah, just note it.
name all the bills that we've moved here?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do it.
And then we can do the so moved. Okay.
And just for our notes, that includes Bill 13 as amended,
Okay.
Bill 86 as amended, Bill 104 as introduced, Bill 152 as substituted, And that's it. And, but there were several other bills that were mentioned that members may place once we begin.
And Madam Chair, also the appointments, would you be able to read them out so that we?
No, 187.
Oh, I apologize. Bill number 187 as amended.
And 11?
11, there was an objection and, yeah. Okay, so there's a motion by Senator Swanson
Yes, for the appointments, they'll be also
No, but-
moved.
On
to
the
place the bills, on the motion to
moved.
place these bills on the reading file.
So moved.
Moved by the speaker, and second?
All the bills?
Seconded by Senator Rajel. Any objection?
No objection.
Hearing none, motion carries. Draft session agenda has been provided to each of you. Are there any motions to place resolutions in the second reading file? No resolutions. Any motions to place appointments under legislative concurrence? The three appointments are Donovan L. Brooks, Rosemary A. Clement, and Donald H. Rubenstein.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Moved by the speaker, seconded by Senator Rajel. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. With the placement of these bills and nominations in the second reading file, I apologize. The placement of these bills in the second reading file and the appointments under legislative concurrence, is there a motion to adopt the session agenda?
So moved.
Moved by the
Second.
speaker, seconded by Senator San Augustine. Any objection?
None.
Hearing none, motion carries. In accordance with the standing rules, the agenda will be published within the next 24 hours. And we'll now move to extension of remarks. The floor is open for further discussion.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
under
Senator
extension
Moylan.
of remarks, so I understand the amount of work that goes into preparing the agenda and all the work that needs to be done and the staff work that has to take part in order for us to get our agenda for today. But I'm kindly requesting that if these agendas or items can be emailed to the core committee before we actually sit down to have the discussion, I think it will be helpful for us to review. And, okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Any other member wish to be heard?
I have one other. So, Madam Chair, in regards to our core group and the discussion we've had recently regarding our standing operating procedures, or rather our core requirements for drug testing. So I think this discussion should be put to the vote eventually, and I'd like to discuss it further to give our core members time to study what was introduced on, I think it's resolution, the last one, the run that is redlined, was it 216? 236, to adopt drug testing for our legislature body and employees, that we discuss it for November's core meeting. On hire, yes. For November's session.
Thank you, Senator Moylan. Just for the record, the public discourse on changing our rules to mandate suspicionless testing for all current and prospective employees at the legislature has been extensive, to say the least. I stand firm in my belief that testing of this kind has been clearly ruled unconstitutional by our past Attorney General and by numerous court cases. So there's no need to reiterate all of those legal arguments at this forum, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that my colleagues might have. It's also plain as day reading and hearing the reaction of our island residents that a legal argument isn't what many in our community really want to hear right now, and I don't blame them. The scourge of drug-related crimes continues to plague our island. Public allegations of corruption among law enforcement and the Jotnya Mayor's office should also have everyone concerned and on high alert. And that's why I don't begrudge you, Senator Moylan, or the public for wanting proof that we are doing all that we can to keep the legislature free of illegal drugs, and that we are not spending taxpayer dollars paying employees who abuse illegal drugs. So I just want to make this very clear and place this on the record, that all of us senators have a duty and already have the power to do this. The rules that we unanimously adopted in January give all appointing authorities the ability to reprimand, suspend, and terminate personnel for misconduct done at the office and even outside of working hours. Our employees have no civil service protections. Suspicions are enough to fire someone at the legislature. An employee facing dismissal has no entitlement to appeal, safe harbor, or even to present a defense. So I wholeheartedly disagree with any notion or assertion that the legislature must act further to keep drugs out of these halls. So I appeal to my colleagues here in the Committee on Rules, let's move forward with more meaningful proposals, like updating GovGuam's drug-free workplace laws and rules, and promoting and securing a high-intensity drug trafficking area designation for Guam. If we collectively commit to maintaining the standards already held in our rules, alongside collaboratively passing meaningful measures to fight drugs and corruption, and also to treat addiction here on our island, then I truly believe that we can achieve and secure a higher level of public trust in this branch and throughout our government. And we can accomplish this without the need to trample on constitutional rights and without the risk of litigation we face by enacting suspicionless testing for all current and prospective employees at the legislature. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Torres, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to, I wanted to ask for confirmation of those bills that we foresee to be moved on the session floor. And if I can just reconfirm, because I think that some of these bills require ample focus and a reread of the committee report for those, of us that want to be actively engaged. So I'm aware, and if I may just ask the other members of the Rules Committee, Senator Marsh Taitano, you indicated Bill 127-35. You may move, is that correct?
Yes, it was Bill 127-35.
Okay, and then I also noted Senator Shelton, Bill 138-35, you will also move on the session floor?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then 127, 138, and then I'm also seeing 150 by Senator Marsh Taitano. Is that also going to be moved? Okay.
It was mentioned.
Okay, and then the last one would be Bill 157 by Senator Shelton, again to move.
Yes, that's correct. And
Okay.
also Bill 80-35 as amended.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. That I just wanted us to be clear about what we can anticipate so that we're sufficiently prepared for session. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I also like to add for Senator Torres, it also includes Bills 6, 40, and 131. And 175? Also. Okay. That's it? Yeah.
Sudos Masi, Senator Torres. Any other member wish to be heard?
Madam Chair,
Senator
there being none,
San Agustin.
motion to adjourn.
Senator San Agustin has motioned to adjourn, and it's been seconded by Senator Amanda Shelton. Any objections? Sudos Masi for your attendance and participation at today's core meeting. The time is now 3:32 p.m., and this Committee on Rules meeting is adjourned.